Hook. In the chaotic rush of a crowded subway during a stormy New York evening, Elena Vasquez, the iron-willed CEO of a multimillion-dollar tech empire, lost her footing as the train lurched violently. She tumbled backward, landing squarely on the lap of a stranger, a rugged single dad named Marcus Hale, who was cradling his sleeping 4-year-old daughter in his arms. Their eyes locked in that frozen moment of shock, her polished world colliding with his quiet struggle, and in the silence that followed, a single whispered word from him, "Breathe," sparked a connection neither could have imagined. But as secrets unraveled and hearts cracked open, would that whisper be enough to mend the broken pieces of their lives, or would it echo into oblivion? The unexpected collision. Elena Vasquez had built her life like a fortress, impenetrable, efficient, and towering above the rest. At 38, she was the youngest CEO of Innovatech Solutions, a company that revolutionized AI-driven healthcare. Her days were a blur of board meetings, investor calls, and late-night strategy sessions in her sleek Manhattan penthouse. Success was her armor, but beneath it lay a hollow ache. Her marriage had crumbled 5 years ago under the weight of her ambition, leaving her childless and isolated. Friends were colleagues, love was a distraction, and vulnerability, that was for the weak. On this particular Friday, she was racing to catch the subway after a grueling day, her designer heels clicking against the platform as rain pounded the city above. The train was packed, bodies pressed together like sardines, but Elena didn't mind. She thrived in controlled chaos. Marcus Hale, on the other hand, lived in a world of gentle routines and quiet sacrifices. A 35-year-old graphic designer by trade, he traded his freelance dreams for a stable job at a small ad agency after his wife, Sarah, passed away from cancer 2 years earlier. Little Mia, their daughter, was his anchor in his storm, full of boundless energy during the day but clinging to him like a lifeline at night. Marcus's evenings were spent juggling bedtime stories, microwave dinners, and the gnawing worry of bills piling up. He wasn't poor, but single parenthood in the city stretched every dollar thin. That evening, he boarded the subway with Mia dozing against his chest, her tiny hand clutching his shirt. He found a seat in the corner, his backpack stuffed with crayons and snacks, dreaming vaguely of a day when life felt less like survival and more like living. The train jolted as it hit a rough patch of track, brakes screeching amid the storm's thunder. Elena, standing and scrolling through emails on her phone, was caught off guard. Her heel slipped on a wet spot, and she pitched backward, her briefcase flying. She landed awkwardly on Marcus's lap, her tailored suit rumpling against his faded jeans. Mia stirred but didn't wake, and the car fell into a hush before erupting in murmurs and chuckles. Elena's face burned with embarrassment as she scrambled to right herself, but Marcus's strong arms steadied her gently. "Whoa, easy there," he said softly, his voice a warm baritone that cut through the noise. Their eyes met, hers wide with mortification, his calm and kind, with a hint of amusement. "I'm so sorry," Elena stammered, pushing off him and grabbing the pole nearby. "The train. I didn't see." "No harm done," Marcus replied, adjusting Mia in his arms. "You okay? That was quite a fall." She nodded, brushing off her skirt, but something in his gaze held her. It wasn't judgmental or flirtatious, it was understanding. As the train resumed its rhythm, Elena found herself glancing back at him. He was handsome in an unpretentious way, dark hair tousled, stubble framing a sincere smile, eyes that crinkled with quiet strength. Mia woke briefly, rubbing her eyes, and looking up at Elena with innocent curiosity. "Are you a princess?" the girl asked sleepily, pointing at Elena's sparkling earrings. Elena laughed, a genuine sound that surprised even her. "No, sweetie, just a very tired lady who needs better balance." Marcus chuckled. "She's got a thing for fairy tales. I'm Marcus, by the way." This is Mia. Elena, she said, extending a hand awkwardly over the crowd. Their fingers brushed, and a spark of warmth traveled up her arm. The conversation flowed unexpectedly, small talk about the weather turning to Mia's love for drawing unicorns, then to Marcus's job and Elena's vague mention of tech stuff. By the time her stop arrived, Elena felt a strange reluctance to leave. Thanks for the soft landing, she joked. Anytime, he said with a grin. As she stepped off, he called after her. Hey, Elena, breathe. The world won't end if you slow down for a second. She paused on the platform, his words echoing as the doors closed. Breathe. Such a simple thing, yet she hadn't done it properly in years. That night, in her empty apartment, Elena replayed the encounter, a flicker of something long dormant stirring in her chest. Little did she know, Marcus was doing the same in his modest Brooklyn walk-up, Mia tucked in bed, wondering about the elegant woman who had crashed into his life. The next week blurred by in Elena's usual frenzy, but Marcus lingered in her thoughts. She found herself taking the subway more often, hoping for another accident. Fate, or perhaps coincidence, intervened on a Tuesday. There he was again, Mia chattering about preschool. This time, Elena sat beside them deliberately. Conversations deepened, Mia's favorite colors, Marcus's passion for sketching that he rarely pursued anymore. Elena shared snippets of her world, the pressure of leading a company, the loneliness of the top. Marcus listened without pity, offering stories of Sarah's illness and how it taught him to cherish the small moments. But challenges loomed. Elena's schedule was relentless. A last-minute crisis forced her to cancel a casual coffee meetup they'd planned. Marcus understood, but doubt crept in. Was this polished executive really interested in a guy like him, with crayon stains on his sleeves? Elena, too, wrestled with vulnerability. Opening up meant risking the control she'd fought so hard for. Yet, each encounter peeled back layers. One evening, as the train emptied, Mia fell asleep on Elena's shoulder, and Marcus whispered, "She doesn't trust just anyone." Elena's heart swelled, but so did her fears. What if this was just a fleeting distraction? As Chapter 1 drew to a close, their budding connection faced its first real test. Elena invited them to a company event, a family-friendly tech fair, but Marcus hesitated, citing work and the class divide. "I'm not sure we fit in your world," he admitted quietly. Elena's response was fierce. "Maybe my world needs a shake-up." They parted with unspoken tension, the whisper of possibility hanging in the air, setting the stage for deeper revelations. Whispers of healing. Weeks turned into months, and what began as subway serendipity blossomed into something profound. Elena and Marcus started meeting intentionally. Playdates in Central Park where Mia chased pigeons, quiet dinners in hole-in-the-wall spots where Elena could shed her CEO facade. Marcus introduced her to the joy of simple things, picnics with homemade sandwiches, bedtime stories that made Mia giggle. In return, Elena showed him glimpses of her empire, inviting him to her office, where he marveled at the innovation, but worried about the toll it took on her. "You carry the weight of the world," he said one night, as they walked hand in hand after dropping Mia at a sitter's. But emotional depths brought turbulent waters. Marcus's grief over Sarah resurfaced in quiet moments. One evening, as they sat on his couch watching old home videos, tears streamed down his face. "I loved her so much, Elena. How do I make room for someone new without feeling like I'm betraying her?" Elena held him, her own walls cracking. She confessed her regrets, the marriage she'd neglected, the family she'd never built. "I thought success would fill the void, but it's just empty." Their vulnerabilities intertwined, forging a bond stronger than steel, yet fragile as glass. Key challenges emerged, testing their resolve. Elena's board pressured her to relocate for a major expansion, a move that would uproot any budding life with Marcus. "This is my legacy," she argued in a heated meeting, but doubt gnawed at her. Meanwhile, Marcus faced his own hurdles. Mia's preschool teacher noted her acting out, whispering that she missed a mommy figure. Guilt consumed him. Was he selfish for pursuing happiness? A fight erupted one rainy night. "You live in a bubble, Elena. My life isn't flexible like yours," Marcus snapped after she canceled plans again. "And yours is stuck in the past," she retorted, tears stinging. They stormed apart, the silence deafening. Resolution came not in grand gestures, but in quiet intimacy. Days later, Marcus showed up at Elena's penthouse unannounced, Mia in tow. "We need to talk," he said. They sat on her balcony overlooking the glittering city, Mia playing inside. Words poured out, fears, dreams, apologies. Elena admitted her workaholism was a shield against pain. Marcus shared how Sarah's last words were to find joy again. As the sun set, Mia toddled out, climbing onto Elena's lap. "I like you," the girl whispered, hugging her tight. Elena's eyes welled up. In that moment, Marcus leaned in, his voice a soft murmur against her ear. "We're broken, but together we heal." It was the quiet whisper that shattered their barriers, the one that echoed the title's promise. Elena whispered back, "I love you both." She chose balance, delegating at work to make space for them. Marcus embraced the future, honoring Sarah by living fully. Their story culminated in a small wedding in the park where they first bonded, Mia as flower girl. Elena stepped down from some CO duties, launching a foundation for single parents. Marcus revived his art, illustrating children's books inspired by their journey. The inspiring message lingered. In a world of noise and rush, healing comes from quiet connections, vulnerability, and the courage to let love rebuild what loss has shattered. No one is beyond mending. Sometimes, all it takes is falling into the right lap and whispering the truth that sets hearts free.